Alright, welcome back everybody. So today we're going to start episode 2 of our new Let's Play series, Transport Fever, All Goods, All Cities, and we're going to complete the fuel line for Little Rock. Just to kind of recap, in the first episode we got the crude portion of this chain started. The train's made a few hauls now, so it's sort of operating in the green. The train is profitable, but we are not. We are losing money like crazy because these stations are ginormous and they have a lot of maintenance. So we really need to get that second line up and running to kind of start paying for all this. So what I'm actually going to do is close this guy down here so we don't have to fight his audio. So we're going to actually start laying the foundation of getting this second leg of this goods chain done here. So I'm going to go ahead and flatten some area here. You're going to find that that's just who I am. I like to start on a good foundation, right? And I've done this long enough to know that if you let terrain mess with you, it will, and you'll regret it later. Alright, so let's go ahead and get our station placed. This one is going to be a relatively, the more I think about it, the oil station almost needs to be the big one. We don't need to change the length. Yeah, I think that'll work actually. Alright, so here's the only issue I have with putting this guy kind of in this area is, if I come in flat like this, it makes it real hard to get out to Norfolk. So I decided to angle this a little bit. So that way we have a better chance of kind of getting out and going to the east and to the north there. So that's where we're going to place that bad boy for today. And again, just because I want to get this up and running relatively quickly and get our expenses situated before they start to really bankrupt us, I'm just going to freehand a road here. We're going to drop in our industry. This is our fuel industry. Go ahead and upgrade it. Alright, and we're going to smooth out our grounds a little bit here. Alrighty, and then we're going to create our runway, I call it. And then we'll get our track in here. I like to do parallel track coming off the station here so I don't have to run it twice. Alrighty, so we got that. Now when I did this earlier, I actually wound up having a nice little tunnel through this little mountain here. And it was actually a neat little feature, so I think we'll try to mimic that again. So what we'll do here is, what I normally like to do is just kind of see how the natural, would do it, and then I try to kind of maybe improve on that a little bit. It's actually not bad, actually. I think that looks really decent. The tunnel is through the meatiest part, so maybe we would, maybe kind of bring it this way a little bit, so that way we're not tunneling through quite as much mountain there. And that's awfully flat too. So that's why that tunnel's so long. But it just kind of gives you an idea, right, of, we don't want to come way out here and then loop way back. We don't want to get too deep. But I'd kind of like this corner to be a little faster than 130-ish too. So, I can bring it around a little bit. So again, that's just, that's the way I play. Everybody plays a little bit different, but it's just how I like to do things. Alright, so, and then what we'll do here is we'll start to bring this guy out and around a little bit too. Keeping our speeds where we like them. And now we'll kind of do another just sanity check and see. Alright, how would this thing normally... See, I think that looks a lot better. Yeah, I know we still slowed the curve there a little bit down to 130s, but I think it's pretty decent. Now, what I don't like is we're awfully shallow into that coming in there. So what we may do is just raise this up a bit. There we go. Even just one really shorten that tunnel quite a bit. Yeah, I think that looks a lot more realistic. Yeah, I like that. Let's go ahead and give that a go. And unfortunately with this dual parallel track mod, if you do any kind of terraforming or even bridge building, it's gotten better at bridges, but it doesn't do tunnels or road crossings very well at all. I'm sure there's a reason for that. I don't know what that reason is, but you just learn to live with it after a while. So one of the things that I've learned with this game over time is when you're starting your tunnel entrances, if you want them to be nice and uniform, just go into the tunnel a little bit first, and then you can connect it up once you get both ends done. Because otherwise, you might come out and your exit may not be even. So that's just another tidbit. So now we can join these two pieces of track. Alright, and because it's a little bit curved in the tunnel, we may not be able to see all the way through, but for the most part it's looking pretty clean, I think, there. Alright, I think that looks good, and we'll go ahead and clean up our elevation changes there, and our entrance a little bit, our entrance here a little bit. Alright, so now that we've got our station to station done, we're going to go ahead and set our segments up so we know where we can cross over or cross in. So let's go get our signals going. And again, I just come right out of the station, place that first signal. That way they're 500 meters from the station. And then we'll mirror that on the way back. And this one's debatable. I'm not going to keep these junctions because we're going to need to cross in anyway, so we're going to need to be a little bit further from the station, but that should get us going. And we'll go and clean up this too. Uh-oh. Did it not? It didn't do it all the way back. Sometimes that doesn't do it for some reason. Let's there we go. I don't really like doing signals inside tunnels ordinarily. So what I'll do is I'll come in here and try to get rid of those, but I may not be able to. There. Yeah, it's going to be awfully hard to... I think we're just going to have to live with them. Alright, we got them. And we'll get rid of this guy right here. I don't want to get rid of the whole station. That would defeat the purpose. Alright, let's get our... crossover trick. I probably pulled those out a little too far, but we will see. Alright. Double slips. Alright. And just because I don't want a train to have to come all the way from Timbuktu, we'll go ahead and put a depot on this end as well. Alright. So again, this is quick and dirty. Just to get the line up and running, making some money, because we are about to go bankrupt. That's the only downside to starting so late. I meant to mention that in the last episode, is we were going to start in the year 2000. I like the later era better. I mean, I enjoy it more, especially on really large maps like this, because the Steam era just can't travel the distance. The frequencies are too low, so you almost... It's a shame, because once you get into the diesel era, then if you have a map that's based for Steam, everything's too close, and it just, it's just, it seems like you're trying to stop them before it just got started. So I tend to build very large maps like this and just skip to the stage of the game where it can handle it. Plus, we can set up airports. Like, we're going to set up an airline to deliver cargo from way up here to all the way down to the far end. I mean, how cool would that be? Um, it gives your airlines a chance to actually be profitable because they're flying a distance that a train just can't cover fast enough. So it'll be really interesting, especially once we start getting air cargo, air passengers. We might do some ferry stuff. This river is very shallow, though. I didn't want to take the time to trench it out or dredge it out or whatever you want to call it. We may do it. We may, just as the map develops. But for now, we just need to get this started so we can at least start making some cash. Cash. That's from Fifth Element. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Alrighty, that'll let us start the fuel side of this line. So let's go and get that line set up. And we're going to create a new line. And we're actually going to come from Little Rock East. And we're going to go to Norfolk North. And for now, that's good enough. And because this is fuel, we're going to make it orangish. Match the fire. And we're going to call this freight train. And we're going to call it Norfolk Fuel to Oil. Alright. And that should get us going. We may need to dip into the kitty here to buy our second train. That's the other reason why I went with the cheapest locomotive in the beginning, was because I knew we were going to wind up buying two of them. And you kind of need to be. Now the last train had 8, so we're going to do 8 here. Buy it, and we're going to set it on that line. And we actually have some operating cash still. We got about 4 million left, so that we can run this for a few years, because it's going to take a little time for it to get profitable. They all take a little bit of time to get profitable. But now that we actually have the oil demand, a consumer for oil, this is going to start to increase its demand. So, alrighty. Now, ordinarily, when I'm laying track and stuff like that, I like to play in the slow mode, just so that way things aren't getting away from me. But we may speed it up here just to kind of get the pump primed, if you will, just so we can see if we're going to be profitable. I think we will be. I don't think we're going to have any issues being profitable here. What I am curious to see is if we'll be able to get Oh, we gotta set up the farm side too still. Yeah, in fact, while the oil is getting profitable, why don't we go ahead and set up the farm? Now, what I like to do is find my grain here. Now, I know eventually I'm going to need probably 2 oil fields and 2 farms. So I don't want to crowd them to the point to where I can't place them later if I need to. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little bit of terraforming. And we're going to make room for our pastures. Now, granted, our pastures aren't going to go out that far, but which will help our catchment, and this will make sense here a little bit when I get this placed. So we're going to place our farm way over here. Upgrade that road. Actually going to bring in another road here. Alrighty. So there's our farm. We're going to actually take the grain all the way over here. And this will be our food processing plant. Again, we may just put it on this side for now. Just because I was in a hurry to get this built out. Place our cargo building here at the end to get our catchment. I think the road caught. Yeah, see the little gray little connecting points. Alright, so we will go ahead and put our food plant over here. Now the downside with food is you have different wagons for your raw goods and your finished goods. So that can be problematic sometimes. It's not that it's problematic, it's just that it's expensive. Because you can't run full load both ways in the beginning. Not until you have some other goods that need to go from point A to point B. So for now, the food will be less profitable than the fuel, but eventually it'll all be profitable, so it's not the end of the world. Alrighty, so now we want to get our this will start to make sense the more I build these out. You'll understand how I kind of do my industry complexes here. I think they wind up looking pretty decent. Alright, so that gives us good catchment. And we got our food processing and our fuel processing right next to each other there, so what could possibly go wrong, right? There's no cancer here. What are you talking about? Alright, so we are going to want to get one of our other platforms involved for this. Hey, look, we're already making money, so we're doing all right. At least we're not. At least this right here isn't in the red. So this is our total earnings over the year. That's including the purchases we're making. So our little money generators starting to get the job done. And once we get the food getting delivered, it'll really take off. Tracks, yes. I'm gonna take these out. About there. And so what I normally like to do here is create dedicated tracks for the different platforms. And this allows you to really kick up your frequency. So that way if you need trains to queue up here, they're not clogging up your bypass or your main throughways and things like that. With the map this large, we're not going to need to worry about frequency. But I still like to kind of build it out this way, just so that way we have it in case we need it. And it adds expenses, so we're going to be making money hand over fist. We are in hard mode, so I mean, I get that we're placing our industries in the most optimal places possible with plenty of distance in between them, but because we are on hard mode and we do have a lot of expenses, it's not going to be like a runaway train, you know? Alright, so let's figure out how we want to break these guys off. Merge them in. I'm going to this back on slow speed because we got that primed already. Alright, so now we've got our first platform coming off there. Now this is the only area where I will have these two platforms kind of stepping on each other's toes, but it is what it is. This curve here is really kind of wrecking havoc on my I know there's a cleaner way to do this, but I'd have to run quad track all the way down there, and I guess I should have done that to begin with. It's easier to delete segments than it is to add them. Yeah, you know what, I'll do that later. I'll clean that junction up. One way to clean this up and make this a lot cleaner is just kind of do a delete here and then run a 10 or 12 track segment as the loop over here, and then it makes it real easy to create crossovers that way. For now, it is what it is. I'm just trying to get the food segment going. Alright, there's our ins. Here's our outs. And that allows us to queue a train or two up in there if we need to. Yeah, see, there's plenty of room to have a couple trains. Like, we could break this up right here. Ish. And then right here-ish. Now, the mod I forgot to load was my signals mod. I'll load it on the next playthrough, and we'll come back and we'll clean these up, and we'll have a nice little over track thing there to kind of do our signaling on. Alright, so let's go get our food line cooking here. Now keep in mind, we got a whole grain there, and then it's got to come back empty because food can't ride in a gondola. Now, I do actually have a solution for that. I have these flatbed cars, which can haul all sorts of stuff. The problem with them is they are like super cheater mods. I mean, it's like, oh my god. I mean, the expense on them is so low, and you make so much money on them that it's like it's definitely a cheat mod. What is the expense on these? I thought I found a better one that wasn't quite as cheaty-ish. Alright, so that's a little more expensive. I can live with that. That's yeah, this is an all cargo too. Oh yeah, look at the expense on that. But you gotta look at the capacity too. It's 55 versus 20. So this is, you need 2 of these, if not 3 of them, and then you're getting to 900 million a year. Yeah, look at how much capacity these guys have. It's just ridiculous. let's try these. We will see. Again, I feel like this is almost too cheaty, but it solves the problem of having to run a train back empty. I really don't like that. They get expensive fast too. Look at that. Whew. We're still excellent. Well, let's borrow some cash here. Get that guy bought. Should have paid down some of my loan. Set up the line first. Alright, let's go ahead and go from Little Rock to Norfolk. And we'll set this to be Oakley. And we should probably have a truck delivery service for food too, although honestly it probably has pretty good catchment coming off the train station, but we'll still set up a delivery spot right about there. That'll drop off just about, should cover just about everyone. Alright, now I notice our cargo station here having a hard time keeping up with that one truck, so we'll go ahead and give him a buddy. So make him a freight road. Yeah, we could probably go with a more expensive truck, but again, in the beginning, we just want to get the truck, we just want to get the services going, and then we can optimize them once we get a loan paid down and definitely in the green. Alright, so we are now officially hauling food and fuel. I know we kind of did the food as quick and dirty. I did want to bring this away from that track a little bit more. Just so that we weren't right up on the track. And we'll get that smoothed out. It seemed like there was a way to remove trees. Yeah, I want to actually place a field, not a field decoration. Alright, well, that is what it is. Now that food train is gonna be running for like days to get yeah, it still hasn't even made its first trip yet. These are pretty long runs. I mean, they don't look long until you think about in a normal map, there probably would have been 10 cities and 25 industries between here and there. So, I mean, this is a pretty long run. But I like that. I like having long runs. Because, I mean, it emulates what it would really be like, you know? But we'll have a full train on the next go, I think. How much food do we have waiting for it? 111, so it won't be a full train. See, that was the other problem I had with these cargo trains. Not cargo trains, but the all-cargo wagons is they almost haul more than your production is able to keep up with. So, I mean, you still need the train to be full to be profitable. Um, and what did that train have on it? 352. See, I mean, we don't even have 352 queued up. We just don't have that demand at this town for 352 food. I think we only need 87. So, I mean, it's just not there. Uh-oh. I forgot that guy was going to bring the fuel back. See, that's the other problem with these all or nothing. I gotta go set the line to not pick up anything but food. Alright, so at Norfolk, we want to not load everything. We just want to load food for now. And at Little Rock, if we're not careful, it'll pick up crude. We don't want to load everything. We just want to load grain. There we go. Oops. Alright, well, let's kick up the speed. And because we don't want our years to just fall off the calendar, I'll actually pause the date while our food production chain kind of gets up to speed here. Man, we got so much crude just sitting here. We almost need to expand that train. But I don't have the money for it now. I should have grown it first before doing the food. Actually, I should have just stuck to the gondolas. And then tagged a few boxcars onto the end of it. Alrighty. Here we go. Now it's got some actual wheat on board. Figure out where we're gonna set up Norfolk's con mats. I think honestly, it'll be good to have like the rock quarry here in town, maybe just outside of town. Little Rock. And back. And then we can also start to set up our commuter line between the two towns. Yeah. Although now Little Rock needs I forget what that's called. It's called the machines. Needs machines now too, so that means we're growing the city. If we get the workers going, I don't know how many workers this guy demands. He's only at level 1, so they don't demand very many at level 1. Once he levels up, he'll start to demand. I think it's 50 workers per level, I'm pretty sure. But because we have 2 of them here, that should be 50, 100, 150. It might be time to go and set up a passenger train to get some workers shuffled over there. Not that these things run better with workers, they just what it does is it allows for what's the word I'm looking for here, the city to grow, because then we start to meet some of its demands for, I think they call it private or public transportation. Yeah, public transport. So we're at 0% right now. But once we hook those stations up, you'll actually see those industry stations show up as destinations, so they can actually contribute to the city growth as well. And that'll force us to kind of get our tram network set up in town to kind of bring workers to the station, which is kind of the next logical thing anyways. What are we doing on grade? 242, that's almost a full load. That train should be making some money for us now. In fact, it is. Let's go and pay back some of this bad boy. Back some food. Now, one of the things we got to be a little cautious about is this little poor platform here can't store as much as that train can haul. So we may need to create a bigger freight station, and I knew that was going to be an issue. I was hoping to avoid it for a little bit. Kitty cat, would you go away, please? My kitty cat is trying to help me here. She's ever so helpful when it comes to playing these video games. She's like your doing it wrong. You need to do it this way. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to kind of bite the bullet. While the land is still there, I'm going to go ahead and grow this out, because I know we're going to need it eventually. Now, here's the thing. You know you're going to have 6 goods eventually, right? So you might as well just make the platforms for them now. No sense in waiting. Alright. This is huge. Alright. So now we will put the cargo buildings on so that it extends just how much these platforms can hold. Alright. That's ridiculous. I actually had better cargo platforms somewhere in a different mod. It must not be enabled right now. Because that's like cheese. That's super cheese. That's like, give me a break. That might be a little excessive. Just ever so slightly a little excessive. Let's go ahead and help our town reach its potential. Alright. Well, it is what it is. Let's get our lines moved over. Food delivery. Stuff Little Rock Annex. We're going to add this bad boy. Remove Little Rock Annex. And then I don't know if you saw this here, but our platform here is struggling to keep up with, how much oil it can keep on deck. One of the ways you can increase that is by adding cargo buildings. It increases the amount you can have. I forget by how much. I think they say in the tooltips. Yeah, so that's 80 cargo items, and this is 60. So by using these, it just enables you to store 80 more cargo items in the depot or station, whatever you want to call it. These smaller buildings can't store as much, and they don't connect to the streets, so they don't really help your catchment. They don't really help your how much you're able to store, so I just get rid of them. And then let's see. We just need to get that crew train Alright, so here's the dilemma. Do we add a second train to the crude line, or do we go ahead and increase the capacity of our single train? The line isn't overly congested right now, so adding an additional train isn't a huge deal. But eventually, we're gonna need a lot of separate trains doing separate things, so I kind of think we should maximize the train before we worry about doubling them up. Now, because crude is a 2-to-1 ratio, we're always going to need 2 crude for every 1 fuel. So that's about the only argument I can make for having a 2-to-1 train ratio. So I suppose we should be running 2 crude trains for every 1 fuel train. That would make logical sense. But I think we can really upgrade that train first before we worry about doubling it. Let's see what we can potentially replace it with. Alright, we know we can do better on the locomotive side because we chose the cheapest, kind of oldest locomotive we had available now. The real question is, out of these two, this one's got a max speed of 65. This one's got a max speed of 75. This is where I really start to struggle with, should I just go electric? The electrics are so much better. They really are. This has a tractive effort of 334 kilonewtons. This is 483. This is a little bit better at hill climbing, but not much. $2.6 million a year. 2.6 million a year. 1.8 million a year. But I can only go 75 miles an hour. Well, it is what it is. Well, we electrified for a reason. Now this is where it's going to get real crazy. On the 99 mile an hour tank cars, they can hold 20 oil, but with these, they can hold 55 oil. See, this is where these almost start to get to be cheaty. Station's 310. Yeah, see, that'll be a full train. Look at that. 660 capacity. Yeah, that's a lot. 81 million to buy that. $65 million to buy that. Gee, mini Christmas. That's just so cheaty. See how much it would be if we did it just vanilla. So there's 301. So even a vanilla train will get us 340 capacity. So I don't feel too bad. 340 capacity. Just a little bit more cash. Come on. Come on, baby. Huh. Still didn't get us enough. There we go. And 385 is pretty close to what we could do. Man, 54 million for that train. All right, let's see what our new workhorse can do here. We want to set that line up so that it's not picking up anything but crude. So we want to turn the load off there. We just want to load crude, fuel, or oil. That's all we want it to load. Crude, oil, fuel. We got 385 crude. And it is hauling butt. See if we get up to 99 miles an hour before we get to the station. I don't think we will. We might. Well, folks, I think that's going to be the end of this session. We've got our food network running, we've got our fuel network running, and I think on the next episode we will work on paying down the loan and optimizing these two lines with trains that can run at full capacity. Till then, I appreciate everybody, and please feel free to leave a comment. Press the like if you would like, if you could, and subscribe if you like what you see. All right, gang. Thanks, everyone. Bye.